Hello, greetings to everyone who is watching this video. Today is the 26th of September 2019 and I am Rumen Kolev in Sofia, Bulgaria. Now, in this video, I will try to explain what came to be known as the Babylonian Chart. This is a way of representation of the horoscope in my computer program, Placidus 7. Okay? Now I will show you a chart and we'll go from there. Okay. Now, this is one of the modules that are in my computer program Placidus 7. As you can see here, this is the module Porphyrius Magus version 2, which is a part of the program Placidus 7, and this particular module is for ancient astrology. So we have a lot of things here, but step by step, now we will concentrate on the representation of the chart. Okay. Now what you see here is the horoscope of John Kennedy, and this is made in like the way they make it in the modern Western astrology, with the tropical zodiac, as you can see here, with the Placidian house system. Okay, everything normal. So now I will transform this chart into what came to be known, not by my designation, but people started calling this the Babylonian Chart, which may be partly true, because when I made this representation of the chart, I wanted to make it in such a way as to show many things on the sky, like horizon, like celestial images, constellations, heliacal phases of the planets, fixed stars, meridian, and I was trying to make some kind of mix or something in the middle between this kind of representation with which most of the astrologers nowadays are accustomed, and the real sky, which is a celestial globe. Okay, I have modules in this program which will show the celestial globe, and it will show also there the zodiac and the fixed stars and everything. Okay. However, it will be too overwhelming and too complex for most people who are accustomed to this very simple chart that we see here. Okay, what we see here is one-dimensional chart, only the zodiac in a circle and everything projected there, like planets and some Arabic parts maybe. So that's why I designed something in between, which will be much easier to look at in one glance, to see many things and to draw conclusions. Okay, so now this so-called Babylonian chart is actually a chart of the sky in 2 dimensions. Okay, now we will start transforming this one-dimensional chart into dimensional Babylonian chart. Okay, first what I will do is that I will show you, I will draw here the celestial images because they are important. As you know, everything on the sky is important. Okay, so now look now carefully what will happen. I just commanded the program to draw the zodiacal images. Okay, I can get rid of the planet so you can see the images better. Okay, look here. You know, this is here Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and so on. So the ascendant being here, we see actually that the ascendant of John Kennedy is in the image of Virgo, in the constellation Virgo. All right, now I will go now to the Babylonian fixed zodiac. I'll change the tropical zodiac, which is here, with the Babylonian fixed. Now look here how this is the modern Western tropical Ptolemaic zodiac, where the beginning of Aries is in the spring equinox. The spring equinox is 00 Aries. However, we know that because of the precession, this point, the spring equinox, is moving back in time. It's moving backwards in the zodiac. So this point here, you see the beginning of tropical Aries, and this orange, yellow, 3, 4 concentric circles. This is the spring equinox. What you see here, 6 degrees 22 minutes. This means that for this date here, the spring equinox was in the 6th degree and 22nd minutes of Babylonian Pisces. This is what this means. However, what we have here is the tropical, modern, Western, Ptolemaic zodiac. Okay, and this spring equinox, in the time of Ptolemy, it was actually right here somewhere. It was somewhere here. Yeah, somewhere here in the beginning of Aries. I can show you this, but this is not the topic now. So now let's change this. Here is the tropical zodiac, and on the right is the fixed Babylon. Boom, just like this. So what you see here is like there is agreement between the zodiacal signs and the images of the constellations. Here is Taurus, here is the image of Taurus, Gemini, the image of Gemini, and so on. And the Babylonian fixed zodiac is putting the star Aldebaran. Okay, let's show you the stars. Here are the stars. The star Aldebaran is here. You read here Aldebaran. This is in the eye, in the southern eye of the celestial bull of Taurus. And the Babylonian fixed zodiac is putting Aldebaran in the middle of the fixed Babylonian Taurus, which means 15 degrees 00 minutes. The star everywhere here where you can read the name of a star, you can find the star in the left upper corner of the first letter of the name. For example, here, Sirius, S is the first letter in the left upper corner. Boom, here is the star. Or here we can see Rigel. R is the first letter in the left upper corner is the star. And so on with each one of the stars. Okay, now I can change also the Placidian house system with the so-called house system of Hermes, which is the whole sign house system, or one sign, one house system, which means that the sign rising on the eastern horizon, which is Virgo, is the first house, no matter where is the ascendant. In the end, in the beginning, in the middle, this does not matter. If Virgo is rising, that's the first house. And then we go in the order. So, okay, maybe we should put back the planets. Okay, now here you see the planets are projected on the ecliptic. However, they almost never are exactly on the ecliptic. And now, for example, watch the moon here. Now I'll command the program to show the real positions of the planets. Oh, you see here where is the moon? The moon is way south of the ecliptic. This is the moon here. And you can see also Mercury here. You see here Mercury. From the symbol, the dash line points to the body of Mercury, which is again way south of the ecliptic. Okay, now we can also add here the horizon. Here is the horizon. The horizon is, of course, very, very important because stars, fixed stars, and sometimes planets can be exactly on the horizon, but they can project way in a different place. Okay, for example, let me check here. Okay, I maybe this star here, which is the star. I think this should be, let me see. This should be from the Northern Crown, maybe. Yes. The star Gamma, as you see here, it's on the eastern horizon. Just this curve on the left is the eastern horizon, on the right is the western horizon. And this star here seems to be right on the eastern horizon. However, it is projected by simple ecliptical projection in the second house. So fixed stars, which are on the eastern horizon, they are called paranatelonta, which means they are rising together with the ascendant. And they are very powerful. They act like in exact conjunction with the ascendant. Actually, The whole eastern horizon is the ascendant. So now we can project also. Okay, I forgot to tell you that this here, these three concentric circles here, this is the point east on the horizon, direction east, and this is direction west. Okay, now sometimes the horizon looks like a circle. Maybe I can show you here. Okay, I'll change the time. This depends. Okay, let's start moving the time. You see, look now. Look how the horizon, the representation of the horizon is changed. Now it is like an oval. Actually, because the program plots everything, I think, like, let me see, like the program plots not the whole sky, but everything plus minus 60 degrees from the ecliptic, north and south. That's why sometimes the horizon looks like a circle, sometimes not. And in the southern hemisphere, it's the other way. Okay, so now let's go back to the birth time. Okay. Now we can put the meridian. Okay, the meridian connects the zenith, which is this point here. You see, this point is the zenith, and this point here, down here in the lower meridian, is the nadir. So the meridian connects the zenith, the nadir, and the point south on the horizon. So the meridian is a big circle on the celestial globe, which goes through the center of the celestial globe. This is a big circle going to the center of the celestial globe, and going through the zenith, the nadir, and the points south and north on the horizon. So all celestial objects, stars, planets, they rise, they set, most of them, right? So these points which rise and set, they culminate on the meridian. When they cross the meridian, that's the place where they culminate. So for example, you see here, this is the meridian. You see here Pollux. Pollux, the star, is almost right on the meridian, which means that Pollux is in culmination. Okay, and MC is just the crossing of the upper meridian with the ecliptic, which is the yellow circle. Okay, what else can I put here? Do you think that we have exhausted ourselves? I don't think so. There are many things that we can put here, and I have not put everything that we should. But now we can ask the question, are all planets visible? By visible, I mean planet which is visible for any duration of time in any moment of the day or the night, of the day of the birth. Which means, like, planets which are invisible, you cannot see with naked eye on the sky, even if you watch for 24 hours in the day of the birth, or for a given day. Okay, if you watch for a given day the whole sky from sunrise to sunrise, and you don't see, for example, Venus, then Venus is invisible. Okay, this is what we call invisible planets, because when they are close to the sun, they are invisible. You know, some people taught in my classes. There were people who thought that invisible planets are planets which cannot be seen for the moment of the birth. Like here, for example, this is the moment of the birth of Kennedy. The sun is high above the horizon, and you don't see any planet. So all planets should be invisible. This is not true. This is not true. Invisible planets are not those which are invisible for the moment of birth, but for the whole day of the birth. Okay, because yeah. So now, because here, as you see here, you see where is Saturn, way up in the sky, where is the sun. The distance is quite big. So when the sun sets, Saturn will become visible. Okay, so the planets become visible when the sun sets, after sunset, or during the night, you know, or shortly before sunrise. During the day, the planets are not visible, with few exceptions about Venus, but this is very, very special topic. You know, in her 8-year cycle, there are one moment when she can be visible during the day. Okay, but okay, we will talk about this another time. Now let's go back to the topic. So what about invisible planets? Are here planets which cannot be seen in the day of the birth? So there are plenty of planets which are close to the sun. Okay, so okay, I go here and I'll check. Let me see. Here, invisible. All right, check off. Check on. Wow, 3 planets are invisible. I bet this means something. No, if somebody comes now and tells me that invisible planets on the sky do not matter, you know, this is, of course, will be the most insane thing in the astrological logic, because everything on the sky matters, and what matters is the sky and the phenomena of the sky, which are observed, which are visual, which are facts. Okay, so here invisible are Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter. They are gray colored and with the cross sign. All right, now what about planets in heliacal phases? What is a heliacal phase? Heliacal phase is when a planet appears for the first time or disappears. There are other heliacal phases like acronychal rise, cosmic setting, stationary point. However, let's make things not very complex. Right now, we'll talk about the main heliacal phases, which are appearance and disappearance, birth and death of the planets. When a planet appears on the sky, this is the moment when she is being born. When it disappears, this is the moment when she dies. So here we can see, so to say, three dead planets: Mars, Mercury, Jupiter. Okay. When does a planet appear? A planet appears when the planet reaches enough distance from the sun as to be seen just before sunrise. The planet shows up above the horizon before sunrise, and the distance from the sun is enough so that the planet can be seen. And this is the moment when a planet is appearing in the morning as a morning star, which is called morning first. And when the planet disappears, she disappears in the evening, and this is called evening last, because the sun is much faster than Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and that's why the sun reaches the planet enough distance so that they disappear. Mercury and Venus are more complex case. They can appear and disappear in the morning and in the evening. So they have morning first and morning last, and they have evening first and evening last. So they can appear in the morning, they can disappear in the morning, or they can appear in the evening and disappear in the evening. This is only for Mercury and Venus. The rest of the planets plus the fixed stars, they can appear only in the morning, and they can disappear only in the evening. Okay, so now, as I told you, a heliacal phase is when a planet appears or disappears. The very day when a planet appears or disappears. And this is a mighty sign from the sky. And here I remember one argument with one very, very famous astrologer, American. And he was telling me, look, when I pointed to him that there is one computer program which they say computes the heliacal phases. However, it is not correct, because according to this program, actually what is computed is when a planet is 15 degrees on the ecliptic away from the sun, this is counted as a morning first. Or when the planet goes again 15 degrees from the sun, moving towards the sun, then this is counted as evening last. And this is for all planets. And when I pointed to him, hey, look, this is not correct. These are not heliacal phases. And why are these not heliacal phases? Because on these days, nothing happens on the sky most of the time. Like 1 out of 100, nothing happens. The planet can be 15 degrees from the sun, and it can be seen, for example, Jupiter or Venus, Saturn, even it can be seen very well. Then the planet can go 14, 13, 12 degrees and still be seen. Nothing happens. And this guy told me, well, this is what the Hellenistic astrologers have written. So what about that? And indeed, the Hellenistic astrologers have written that when a planet, I know this, when a planet is 15 degrees away from the sun, this can be counted as morning first. And when it is again the same distance but moving towards the sun, this can be counted as evening class. This is indeed what the Greek Hellenistic astrologers wrote. However, does this mean, I asked, does this mean that when on the real sky you see for the first time a planet coming up in the morning like a morning star appearing, does this mean that this does not mean anything? Of course not. Of course not, because the real astrology looks at the events on the real sky, not on some imaginary sky in the heads of someone who does not know how to compute the heliacal phases and design some crude, rough algorithms with this 15 degrees from the sun. You know, why the Hellenistic astrologers used this kind of algorithm? Because they have forgotten how to compute the real heliacal phases. Very simple. In Babylon, they knew how to compute the exact day of a heliacal phase of any planet. And I guess that if the Hellenistic astrologers knew how to do it, of course they would have done it. So this is something on the sideline. Let's go back. Now, planets in heliacal phases. Okay, I will switch them on. Let's see. Heliacal, you see here, heliacal. Okay, wow, I see two planets in heliacal phases. Venus, it is above her, we can see EL minus 6, which means that Venus, no, this is EF minus 6, which means evening first, 6 days before the birth. This means that Venus appeared 6 days before birth. The heliacal phase, according to the ancient authors, are very, very powerful if they happen plus or minus 7 days from the birthday. So Venus appearing 6 days before the birth of Kennedy is a powerful sign that Venus has a lot of might here, a lot of power. And we see here also above Jupiter MF6, which means morning first, 6 days after birthday. This means that Jupiter will be rising on the eastern horizon in the morning, 6 days after the birth of Kennedy. So let's check it. I go again to dynamic. Okay, I'll put the sun just below the horizon. Okay. Okay. Now I will start going 1 day. I'll move the time with 1 day. Now, you see Jupiter just showed up. From gray, it became colorful, red. With red are the day planets, with blue are the night planets. The day planets are the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. The rest are the night planets. Mercury is, should be examined to see what kind of planet is he. So you see, the Sun here is below horizon, Jupiter is above horizon, and Jupiter on this day becomes visible, which is here June the 4th, 1917. Okay, now I'll go back to the birth time. Okay, and the same with Venus. We can see exactly when Venus became visible. Why not? If we go 6 days, so it should be like the 23rd of May. Okay. Oh. Okay, now you see, now the Sun is exactly on the western horizon, Venus is above horizon, visible. Okay, wait, I wanted to see something else here. So actually, yeah, the Sun is in the 90 degree of fixed Taurus, and Venus is in the 15 degree. Okay, so now let's go back to the birth time. Okay, now let's see what we can do more here. We can switch if there are planets in highs. Yeah, planets in highs turn to be Mercury and Jupiter. Why? Because, okay, let's see here. Yeah. Okay, here is the Dorifolia. However, in Kennedy chart there is no Dorifolia. Although probably Jupiter maybe in some respect. Okay, then we can switch which are the strong signs according to Hermes. Here they are. We can also switch this here to tell the program to compute the Alkokoden and the Helix. So according to the program, the Helix is the ascendant. Here are the authors that we can choose according to which we are computing. There are many of them. Hellenistic, Arabic. And the Almuten too, we can compute from here. The Almuten. Okay, the Almuten is the most powerful planet in the horoscope, which is very important. And here it is shown with a crown because the Almuten is the king or the queen of the chart. The Helix is with this light coming from it, because the helix is the source of life. The Alcocuden is with wings. Here it is Mars, but Mars is crossed because Mars is invisible. If I go to, let's see, let me see. If I go to Rhetorius Valens, then the Alcocudens or the guardian angels will be two, Jupiter and Venus. You see now Venus with wings. This is because the Alcocuden is the planet which rules the helix, rules the life. And this is the guardian angel. The guardian angel has the task to protect the person from birth to death. So how many years will live a person depends on the guardian angel. The guardian angel in the chart is the Alcocuden. Okay, I'll go back to Valens here. So, okay, let's see now what else can we put here. Okay, planets which are cadent. This means planets in a cadent houses, like the moon is in the 12th house. Okay, now when I switch on to show the cadent planets, it will show the moon with one arrow going downwards, because cadent means falling down. The cadent houses are not good, they are weak. So now I can, if I want, I can switch also the so-called bounds or terms, which are division of every sign in 5, which are very, very important. As you see here, the rising bounds in Kennedy's chart are the bounds of Mars in Virgo. Like every sign has bounds of the 5 planets: Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Mercury, and Mars. The moon and the sun do not have. Of course, you can also, the bounds you can choose between here, Egyptian, Chaldean, and Ptolemaic. There are also other kinds of bounds. There are even bounds where the moon and the sun are represented, but this is another question. So there are more things that I can switch on here. For example, here, Lucidia of Hermes will show the kind of degrees in the zodiac. Like according to Hermes, in the zodiac, we have lucid or bright degrees. We have void, vacant degrees. We have shady degrees, and we have dark degrees. So four kinds of degrees: vacant, dark, shady, bright. So we see here like that the degree which is rising, the 27th degree of Babylonian Virgo, is a bright degree. Okay, we can also graph the ecliptic if we want. We can put the dodecatemoria. The dodecatemoria is division of every sign in 12 equal parts. And they represent the 12 signs. And the logic is that the first dodecatemoria of every sign is of the nature of the sign. For example, the first dodecatemoria of Scorpio is Scorpio. The first dodecatemoria of Sagittarius is Sagittarius. Maybe we can see them better here, because here we can, let's see, here I can zoom. So look here, the first dodecatemoria of Virgo is Virgo. Here, the first dodecatemoria of Libra is Libra. Each dodecatemoria is of 2.5 degrees. Here we can see the horizon. You see here the horizon. You see the stars. Pica is a little bit below the horizon. This is the point east on the horizon. This here is nice representation. We can zoom here. What we can do here also very interesting, that we can change the area which we can see. For example, if I put 60 degrees below and above the ecliptic, that's what we'll see. Okay, let me, I will. Okay. Okay, so I can also put even 90 degrees, so the whole sky, now the whole sky is visible. Now I can switch off the dodecatemoria. Here the good part is that I can zoom as much as I want. Okay. Now here I have put 90 degrees, so the whole sky is visible. All right. Now let's go back to the usual representation. The dodecatemoria, they are, as I told you, each sign has 12 dodecatemoria, so each dodecatemoria is of 2.5 degrees. Now, I have here also the pentagram of Venus. Here, Venus is evening star. So this is the 5 places where Venus appears as an evening star. And from here, we can build the pentagram with the 4 different heliacal phases of Venus. Evening first, morning first. These are the 5 places where Venus appears as a morning star. Then morning last, where she disappears as a morning star. Like evening last, where she disappears as an evening star. And here are given details where exactly in the tropical and in the Babylonian fixed happened this. Okay. So I go back to the evening first pentagram. Here are shown like in a period of 8 years. 8 years, Venus appears as an evening star in 5 different places in the zodiac. And then after that, she repeats the same thing with very little bit difference. She moves like 2 degrees back in the zodiac. So if I go to dynamic and I go here with 8 years, you'll see like like this pentagram is good for 8 years, but the next 8 years it will be a little bit different. It will move backwards with 2 degrees. Look now. You see? Okay, I go back to the birth of Kennedy. You see where is the third point? Somewhere close to Regulus. Then, after 8 years, Venus will appear very close to this point, but I think this will be in the end of Babylonian Cancer. So 8 years more, and the pentagram will keep moving backwards with two degrees for 8 years. So you can compute how long will one beam of the pentagram will remain in one sign. How long? 120 years. All right. Okay. Well, basically, this is for now what I can tell you about the Babylonian chart in the computer program Placidus 7. There are many more things, many more models from here. For example, here the heliacal phases. We can switch on different models. We can compute the heliacal phases of stars, of planets, and they will come. You see, they'll come in a. Wait a minute. They'll come in a list. And many more things here. The heliacal Kukuden, the Almuten, different authors. We will make more videos explaining each of these models. But for now, this is enough just for basic understanding of this two-dimensional so-called Babylonian chart. Okay? Now, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again in the next videos. Ciao, ciao. Good luck to you.